Hello, welcome to Rachel's Now Reading. Today, we're reviewing Single Gay Christian by Gregory Coles. My first thought when I heard about this book was, not another book by a white gay male. I previously read books from Justin Lee, Wesley Hill, and even Alan Chambers, so I was expecting more of the same. But I decided to give this book a chance. I'm glad I did. Greg Coles has quite a different story from the other authors mentioned above. After all, one shouldn't stereotype gay people as being one and the same. To be completely honest, this was quite painful to read. Not because of bad writing, it was good, but the internalized homophobia inherent in this slim volume. It was the bits about suffering that caught my eye and made me cry. Here's a quote. "People knew me, but that didn't mean they really knew me. And it's hard to feel love when you're convinced that people have only ever loved your effigy, when you're afraid they might love the real thing less, or not at all. Being a gay evangelical Christian is hard, not to mention growing up with no LGBT role models, and then studying in a Christian college." The author tells us how he perfected the art of acting straight, a story many gay kids know well. It wasn't until much later when he was a young adult that he first came out to his pastor, who received it quite well. He then chronicles coming out to his friends and parents and relates how nerve-wracking it was to do so. Trigger warning. This book focuses on being gay and celibate, so if you have experienced past hurts where celibacy has been forced upon you by the church, this might not be the most suitable book for you. Kind of like a recovering anorexic trying to read a dieting book. It's at your own risk. But he does put it quite beautifully, saying, what if, in the end, celibacy is all about love? What if the gift of celibacy is a gift of loving well, loving differently, living in ways that are outside the purview of the married life? But as he sees his buddies and girls he tried to date get married, he recognizes that it can be quite a sad journey too, as he writes, "The road of celibacy for the gay Christian remains a distinctly complex calling. To not only resist sexual urges, but to try to banish the thought of ever fulfilling them. To have no daydreams of a future romance, no wistful marriage plans. To feel like the core of your sexual desire and the faith you hold most dear are at odds with each other. There are sufferings far worse than this, but there is none quite the same. My heart has its own fracture lines, its unique ways of breaking. And maybe that's not a bad thing." Wow. This is one committed fella right there. He does end on a more hopeful note with regards to this, saying, "The calling of gay celibacy is a calling to longing. It's an admission that our deepest sexual desires can wait for another world, for another life, for another kind of fulfillment. But a life of longing isn't a life without happiness. On the contrary, it's a life rich with detail, a life with wonder and beauty. It's when I'm happiest that I long most. And someday, when I look into the face of my Savior, I will taste the fulfillment of an intimacy 1,000 times sweeter than any pale earthly imitation." Amazing. The author has scoured scripture and studied revisionist literature and decided for himself that a life of singleness is what God has ordained for him at this present moment. I'm also glad that he recognizes that his story can be used as a weapon to attack other non-celibate gay Christians, and he hopes that this will not be the case. I would recommend this book to pastors, Christian parents, and gay Christians who hold a traditional view. For affirming Christians though, this might be an excruciating read, so I'd advise to handle with care. Links to buy it in the description. Till next time, bye!